talk about Ghorman tonight, and specifically the Ghorman Plaza and why it has such significance and importance in the Star Wars universe and lore, especially when it comes to Clone Wars and Rebels and what happened before and after the Rebellion and the rise of the Galactic Empire. So, in this past Tuesday's episode 8 of Andor, entitled Who Are You?, we saw the Ghorman Massacre take place. And that's not the first time something like that has happened on the planet of Ghorman, especially in that spot that we refer to as the Plaza. This monument that sits in the Ghorman Plaza is referred to as the Monument of the Fallen. Now, why is it called that? Well, about 17 years before Episode 8 happens in Andor, something happened on the Ghorman Plaza called the Tarkin Massacre. Now, that name will sound familiar to you from A New Hope and Rogue One because it was Governor Tarkin or Moff Tarkin. You know this guy, played by the always evil-looking Peter Cushing. The nicest man in the world, by the way, also, but he just looks like he'd be a space Nazi, right? There were such things as space Nazis, no offense. But in the year 19 BBY, which stands for Before the Battle of Yavin, which we see in Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope, peaceful demonstration broke out here in the plaza of Ghorman's capital city called Palmo. And during the demonstration, Governor Tarkin wanted to land his cruiser inside the plaza, but the citizens refused to move, right? They're like, you're not landing here. What are you going to do about it? And more kept gathering in this air of defiance, like, bring it, let's do this. And they kind of underestimated the evilness of Moff Tarkin, which they don't really know him personally, but we know what he does in this universe to Scarif and Alderaan and all these other planets we've seen destroyed. And in Tarkin's evilness, he just decides he's going to land his cruiser in the plaza regardless with all those people sitting there, and he does, and he basically kills about 500 people based on initial estimates. Some expect it's much more than that, but that's the official Imperial number. After word of these atrocities got around, Tarkin was eventually, sent off to go play with himself in, the western reaches of the Empire and everything like that. And the citizens of Ghorman established the Monument of the Fallen inside the plaza to commemorate this event and remember it every year. Similar to, I don't want to say 9/11, but what we do with, that and Ground Zero all the time. And, history in the Star Wars universe and everywhere does tend to repeat itself. And like I said, that event took place in 19 BBY, and then we fast forward 17 years to 2 BBY. The residents of Ghorman carried out another supposedly peaceful demonstration on Ghorman in that plaza. They opened the plaza. The Imperials were setting them up for it. They started the massacre to kind of set off this event that would, basically rally the galaxy against the Ghorman and rebel cause and, do what propagandists do. And this is the event known as the Ghorman Massacre, and basically what started Mon Mothma's speech. That brilliant speech that Genevieve O'Reilly playing Mon Mothma gives before the Imperial Senate, basically saying, Emperor Palpatine is the monster, and he's the one that did this. That place on Ghorman, I think most people would say is cursed because of all the death and terrible things